Let's get to our best and worst from college football. Then we'll go to the Booster Club and get into rapid fire. We got some Major League Baseball, some NBA, and some other stuff to hit as well. College football, my best is TCU staying undefeated. You know, Kansas State is kind of one of those roadblock teams. You know, we saw early they kind of derailed Oklahoma. Then obviously Dylan Gabriel goes out because of TCU down the road, ironically or not. You know, we talk about teams, we say, oh man, this is just an offensive heavy team. They're just going to have to outscore everybody. And I know that there have been some pretty high scores. Even the game with K-State was somewhat high scoring. But Adrian Martinez has been on fire. He gets hurt. Will Howard came in and did a nice job for Kansas State. I thought Deuce Vaughn didn't eclipse the 100-yard mark. But this TCU team has so much fight in them and there's no quit. They went down 24-7 to Oklahoma State at home because what have we seen from TCU in the past? TCU has been the Mississippi State of the Big 12. They'd win a couple games that they're not supposed to, then they'd lose a couple games that they're not supposed to. The one thing they couldn't show is consistency throughout a year, and we're seeing Mississippi State kind of regress back to that a little bit. I know they just went and played Bama, but go see them against Kentucky. It's that Mike Leach up and down roller coaster ride, and we typically see that from TCU with Gary Patterson. They'd go beat in Oklahoma, then they'd lose to some Texas Tech by 20. It'd be something like that. But this TCU team is different, and they've got the perfect recipe. The defense, I think, is good enough. It's not elite, but it's good enough in spurts to be able to cover for the offense some if they're not clicking on all cylinders. You have an experienced quarterback that still has things to prove in Max Duggan. He's been there. He understands it. No moment will be big. He can run it. He can throw it. He understands offense. You have an elite wide receiver core. I would say TCU, Ohio State, you could throw a couple other teams in there, have elite receiver core. And you are able to win in multiple ways. And you have one now coming back at home, on the road, and you showed guts. I think TCU has the recipe. It's going to be a fist fight here at the end. I think they still got to go, to Texas. You've got a couple other big guys. I believe you got to go to Baylor maybe left on the end of that schedule. But I'm telling you, man, I keep getting impressed more and more each week by TCU because they keep proving everybody wrong each week. And there is a new kind of swag, call it the Sonny Dyke swag at TCU. Consistency.
How about the Oregon Ducks?
Man.
45-30 over UCLA. This is a good UCLA team, man. Bo Nix, 22 for 28, 283 through the air, 5 touchdowns. How many interceptions, Blaine? 0 interceptions. And even more impressively, Oregon rushed for 262. And it was between the tackles. They said, oh, y'all have Zach Charbonnet. You're good at running the football. Hey, watch this. Watch this. I mean, look, here's the schedule for Oregon coming up. Like I told you guys yesterday.
Home games.
Cal and then Colorado. Okay, those are your 2 road games. Those are nice road games to have. And then the last 3 of the year. Washington, good football team. Utah, but you get them at home. And then at Oregon State.
Yeah.
That Oregon State
game is the one that worries me more than anything else.
I think that's what I think.
Even though Washington, it can
get weird.
It can get weird with Penix.
Look, I'm going to give this team my best for college is the South Carolina Gamecocks, baby.
Ooh.
Big win versus A&M. I believe they're 4-2 right now.
5-2.
5-2 right now. And the way they're winning games, they're playing defense and run the ball. Spencer Rattler's not lighting up the stat sheet, but he's kind of somewhat playing it. He's falling into this offense, learning the identity of this offense, and I love South Carolina, in my opinion, is the second biggest delusional fan base in college football. First is Auburn, for sure, for some reason. If South Carolina starts believing, people better watch out. Because Beamer's got the swag. He's in the locker room dancing with the guys. He's recruiting what? He's recruiting well. And they're beating teams that if they beat a good Kentucky team, 24-14.
Okay.
That's fine. You didn't have a quarterback. Hell, I mean, what can you do? South Carolina, that's not your fault. You win the damn game. Then you beat a Texas A&M team when they're paying Jimbo Fisher half a Saturn and Jupiter and some new jets from the defense ministry. Hell, I don't know. And Beamer's only going to get what? It's only going to get better. Better from here. South Carolina, a team to watch out for. They're dangerous, fellas.
Yeah, and I had South Carolina being one of the teams in the SEC that struggled, and we still got a long way to go. But they have Missouri and then Vanderbilt. There's always a team or two every year that catches most of the breaks. South Carolina has just caught in a lot of breaks. You got to give them credit. They're taking advantage of it. You go to Kentucky. Will Levis doesn't play. Kentucky's backup quarterback, is like this cup right here. All right, and not Cooper Kupp. All right. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. We've seen Kentucky have to be methodical even with Will Levis. You come in first play of the game, Kentucky tries to reverse, fumbles it. South Carolina is able to get a lead, let Kentucky beat themselves, and hang on and win that game. Then you play a Texas A&M team, obviously with Haynes King, who got benched, and I'm going to get to Texas A&M in a second. You score 17 points in the first quarter. You run the opening kickback because Texas A&M's softer than well water on a broken branch, and then you have the turnovers. Haynes King throws basically the pick six. He tried to throw it literally from one sideline to the other sideline on a comeback, didn't work. But you made those plays. You held on and you won. You've got a Missouri team, which I'm sure something will happen to the Missouri quarterback. He'll, slip on a banana peel walking to class or something. They'll play the backup there. And then you got a Vandy team that you should beat. So South Carolina right now, it's looking at worst like 7-5 because the back end of that schedule, outside of Missouri and Vanderbilt, I know you go to Clemson. Blaine, who else do they got on there?
Let me check it out. It's not good.
Looking at it.
It's not. I'm pretty sure they have Georgia.
No, they already lost to Georgia.
Already lost to
They
Georgia.
got Tennessee at home. You
that
go
might
to
be it.
Florida, and then you got
okay. You go to Clemson. You have Tennessee at home. You go to Florida. You go to Van. You have Missouri at home.
Yeah. So I mean, you beat Missouri. It's looking like a 7-win season, but I'm with you, Blaine. And I said this at the beginning of the year. So I told South Carolina fans, don't panic if you do go 5-7, or if you do go 2-6 in the SEC. This is as bad as the personnel will ever be from South Carolina. They've happened to catch some breaks, and they've happened to win some games. But my worst is Haynes King's throwing motion. And it's easy to pile on A&M because, when you do the things that A&M has done, you set yourself a high standard, and if you fall short, you're going to get made fun of, and they've fallen short a lot. But Haynes King has maybe the worst throwing motion of any Division I quarterback that I've seen this year, and that I can remember in a while. People say, oh, well, Phillip Rivers had a weird motion. Yeah, but Phillip Rivers was getting the ball out quick. Yeah, it was 3 quarters, but the ball was getting out quick, and it was going where it was supposed to. Haynes King literally is like when two people from Mortal Kombat are about to fight when he throws. Like he's got a deep front leg, so he's crouched, and then he's got the ball 6 feet above his head. It just doesn't. If you've ever thrown a ball, or you've watched football, or you've watched quarterbacks, name another quarterback that throws like Haynes King. It looks like I'm watching a 3A high school quarterback play football. It's not like I'm watching a Division I high-level Texas A&M style quarterback. This guy's motion is terrible. Cone, it's terrible. I don't know how, and I can tell he's nervous when he throws. I can tell he's still nervous when he throws. But legitimately, any quarterback guru out there, and you don't even have to be a quarterback guru, watch Haynes King throw. Haynes King's throwing motion is a microcosm of Texas A&M's football program right now.
That's pretty funny.
5-star talent, 2-star execution.
I'll say unorthodox. How about that? It's unorthodox.
Okay, well, it's not a religion.
It's kind of like,
or is it?
It's kind of like a golf swing. Like if you were to watch Jim Furyk, when he swings the golf club, if he were terrible at golf, all his buddies would be like, "Of course you're terrible. Look at your golf swing." But he's great.
I will say though, you don't have 6'5", 300-pounders running at Jim Furyk.
That is true. It's not a live ball.
It's not a timing.
Yeah.
It's not a timing.
Matthew Wolf swings terrible.
But he's right.
Or
it's not a live ball situation. So I understand that. My worst from college football this weekend was Syracuse in the second half. And I don't want to pile on Syracuse, but it's because they played so well, not only in the first half, but all season so far. If that hadn't been the case and you just played a bad football game the entire time, well, you know what? You lost at Clemson. Add your name to the list. There's been 38 in a row now. But it was the second half to me. In the first half of the football game, everything was working for Syracuse on both sides of the football.
And they were catching breaks.
They were catching breaks. Mistakes. Created 4 turnovers on defense. They were stopping Clemson on 4th down. They had a defensive touchdown. The rush 3, drop 8 was even working sometimes. So in the second, and on the offensive side of the ball, Garrett Schrader with his feet, design Q power was working. The zone read, and then even when he would drop back and nothing was there, he was able to beat Clemson on the scramble. So every way that he could win with his legs, he was doing so in the first half.
Yeah, well, if you see Clemson too offensively, Syracuse was so schizophrenic on the defensive line, they'd get pushed back 5 yards and give up a 9-yard run, then be in the backfield the next 3 plays. So everything was going the way that Syracuse needed it to go to be able to pull off that upset. That's what hurts the most, if you're a Syracuse fan, to me.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
as a coach, like going back and watching the film, you're like, they played exactly like how we hoped they would play, and we didn't make good on it at the end. That's the stuff that keeps you.
And Cade Klubnik didn't come in and beat you. It's not like Clemson made a quarterback change and this kid came in and threw for 250 in the second half. What was it? What was his? It was
he had like 19 passing yards.
He did have the 2-point conversion. Was a great play. Elusive, bang, hit the dig in the back of the end zone. It was a great football play. I've seen DJ Uiagalelei make that play though. I think that Clemson could have won this game with him still in the football game had Syracuse played that poorly. And so Cade didn't come in and beat you, and to me the referees didn't beat you. Now the late hit on Garrett Schrader out of bounds, that was a missed call. That was a missed call, but it wasn't the referee.
That game wasn't decided by that play.
In the second half, 7 possessions, 6 punts, and an interception.
You're up 21-10 at halftime. Clemson gets the ball coming out. You hold them to a punt. You're up 21-10 with the ball in the third quarter. You had all your chances. You cannot blame it on one call that didn't go your way.
They're still 6-1. They're 6-1. Dino Babers has gone from your house money. House money on the road at Clemson.
Who would have thought we'd have been sitting here, week 8 or 9 at the beginning of the year going, you know what? Syracuse blew their shot to stay undefeated and beat Clemson on the road. Who would have thought that? But that's why college football is great. Speaking of great, Blaine, what's the club saying?
I'm going to do my bad real quick from college, but I appreciate it. No, I didn't.
Well, that's my bad.
It is. It's okay. I forgive you. Trust tree. I'm going to do Miami. Post Malone, you're falling apart. Ooh. You're bad right now. If you'd have looked me in the eyes and said the Duke Blue Devils are first
Duke, Kansas,
routing you by 20, running in the end zone, throwing up the U and breaking it over their knee. Oh my God, take a seat on the couch. Let's talk about your feelings. I know it's bad right now, but hey, you're getting facilities built. Mario Cristobal is going to fix everything. We'll see. You got to I guess you're taking your little bruises before everything gets better, but you're getting out here embarrassed by Duke. This isn't basketball. Coach K's not out here calling
Jim Larinaga wouldn't even go down like that.
I don't care who's there. It's Duke.
I watched Miami slap Auburn around in the NCAA.
Yeah, but it's Auburn. Auburn's just kind of lately been relevant in basketball. All of a sudden, Duke's been relevant in football in the 1800s.
No, Steve Spurrier won the Heisman there.
They're breaking the U over
That's
their
why when
knee
he's in the Heisman
end
House,
zone.
Like if you notice in the Heisman House commercial, Steve Spurrier has like a blend of a Duke and Florida jersey. Like if you look,
I never noticed that.
Go look next time. You know the one they have where like Devontae Smith's running around intercepting everything, and look at the Duke Florida colored jersey that Steve, because they're like, Steve, you won the Heisman at Duke. Let's put you in the Duke jersey. He's like, nah, man, put me in the Florida one. All right, can you combine them? What about Fluke University?
All right.
By the way, Pat McAfee and them did a Lou Holtz impression thing. Mine was way better. Hey, hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. I know you are. We're going to keep trying to grow the channel like a weed, so make sure you like and subscribe and share it with your friends. We are live every weekday morning, 7:30 to 9 Eastern, and we work on the weekends because we're here for you, because without you, there is no us.